Wrapping it up with Eme Essien Lore. She is an expert in organizational health. Can you come and do some kind of workshops for us here at the Standard Group?
Sure, absolutely.
Are you very expensive?
Sure, I can. I can come in.
We're going to talk about that rate.
You know, we can talk about that.
Are you looking at? I'm going to start with like the C-suite guys, or how would you like to go about this training?
I do think it's best to start there.
From the top.
Yeah, from the top.
All right.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about it. And usually your workshops, how long do they last? Like, what are we looking at?
It completely depends on what the needs are. It doesn't have to be a workshop. Yeah, it depends. The key thing is to be very flexible and understand where the organization wants to go. So yeah,
I love your diplomacy.
Yeah.
You're clearly up with the diplomacy. But seriously, now just to wrap everything up, because we don't have much time, not just parting words, but a roundup of what we've discussed, plus what you think we need to take home from today's conversation.
So I think, again, key, take the judgment out of bias. It's not a bad thing. We all are biased. It makes us human. And if we can understand that, then we can have a bit of empathy for everybody else, right? So we're all biased. That's the number one thing. And then the second, I would say, is try and take some time to understand what your own biases are and what your triggers are, right? And the best way to do that is with people who you trust, because they're going to keep your confidence, right? So if you are struggling with something and you just don't understand why you have a reaction, or you just don't like something or someone, or, talk to somebody who knows you well and try and get to the bottom of it and just try and understand it. If you start asking yourself those questions, that's just going to help right there, because you're opening yourself up for just understanding yourself a bit more. That's the second thing. And then I would say, in the moment when something happens, when you have that feeling, that they call it a gut instinct, right? Mm-hmm. Gut instinct typically is code for unconscious bias, right? There's something that is happening, and all of your experiences of your past are making you make a quick decision on something. That's typically what it is. So you still have a moment to pause. Just pause and reflect. Ask yourself, what's happening here? Why do I like this person? Why don't I like this person? What about the situation makes me comfortable or uncomfortable? Because if you're able to do that, then you might be able to make a better decision, a more informed decision. You might be able to say, okay, listen, in this situation, there's too much baggage for me. Let me bring in some diverse perspectives. That's always going to lead you to opening up your thinking and hopefully a better decision, but only if you pause. If you don't take the time, if you just go on your gut instinct on everything, right, and you don't take the time to think through it, oftentimes you'll make a decision, but it may not be informed by the diverse opinions that will get you something that is better for everybody. So pause and reflect. Pause. There's a lot of power in the pause. There's power in the pause. So give yourself that. And then again, recognizing that everybody has unconscious bias means that you can build empathy for yourself and for everybody else, just to have a bit more empathy. You see somebody you just don't like their political background, you don't like where they're from, everything about them just
irks you.
Yeah, irks you. Exactly. You could actually, if you took the time, you could actually understand that person's perspective. You may not like the person, but if you can have some context as to why he or she behaves that way and is that way, that means that you can potentially have a better conversation. If you have to negotiate with that person, you can have a better negotiation if you've taken the time to do that. So there's that power in the pause and that opportunity, and it all rests with you, right? It all rests with all of us taking the decision to say, let me just think about this a little bit. And then I'll just end with Maya Angelou's quote. One of my favorite authors, Maya Angelou, the late Maya Angelou. She said, if you know better, do better. If you know better, do better.
Absolutely brilliant. Eme Essien Lore. LinkedIn is where you can find her, right?
Yes, LinkedIn.
It's just your name?
Yes.
Nothing fancy?
Nothing fancy.
Like, unconscious bias guru 254 or something?
No.
Okay, fantastic. Eme Essien Lore. Lore is spelled Lore. Thank you so much for taking the time. You came in here. You joined me on 00 Direct. I wish you the most phenomenal weekend.
Thank you, Olivia. You're awesome. Thank you for the show. Thank you very much. Thanks, Bumbi.